Saturday, the 6th of December. My goodness, this month is going extremely fast. I hope we're all doing extremely well. It seems ages since I've been with you since the last time. Yeah, not doing shows a couple of times a day after doing one 4 times yesterday. So yeah, it is so nice to be back with you. It is the weekend, and yeah, it's a busy time. It's a busy time for me. So let me know about how your weekends are. Scott is already in the chat, legend, and says yes, JB. Yes, Scott's just gonna adjust this camera a little bit as well because it's a pain in the arse. So look, Dino says boom shakalad, Dino. Hope you are doing extremely well, my friend. Sorry, I'm just basically just trying to sort this out. Yeah. So guys, first thing to say is look, get into this amazing community, get into this amazing chat. We're not the smallest, we're not the biggest, but we genuinely are the best. This community is amazing, so get in there. Be respectful to each other, be respectful to the community, be respectful to me. Otherwise, a ban hammer does come out and you will get banned, and we don't like to do it. Carter Sharma says, how's it going, mate? I'm going extremely well, and hope you are too as well, my friends. I'm just going to checking on the quality of the stream, just because it has behaved itself the last couple of weeks. So let's see. Hopefully, it's going to behave itself today. It looks like it is. Second thing to say, I'm not a dictator of this chat. It's really important to me that you guys have your say on here, and I genuinely do read out your chats. So it's really important for you to come on here and have you say. There are super chats and all that sort of stuff, memberships, and if you want to join and that sort of stuff, it is all on there. But the most important thing to me really is that you get into this conversation. So look, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. And we do things slightly differently as well. So first thing I wanted to say is, look, how good is this shirt? How good is this keeper shirt? Now, many of you may not like this shirt, but I tell you what, I love this shirt. This is the 90, I think it's the 92, 93 Peter Schmeichel. This for me is the classic Schmeichel shirt. Absolutely love it. And just for Scott in the chat, just there is the gold reversible United top. Scott said it was one of his favourites, so I sort of had to pick one up. I have to say the quality of these shirts are absolutely fantastic. So yeah, there's a gold one. There's a gold one just there. A reversible top. Really nice. I really like it. So I'm really impressed. Even though United are crap on the pitch, it doesn't mean that we can't enjoy some of the past stuff. Also, I've got my kids, their tops as well. So also getting them into United as well. So I've got a bunch of my my kids their kits as well. So it's all looking good. And Scott, I have to say, Scott, I'm really impressed. That gold kit there, I'm really impressed with it. It's really good, and it's not the same. The kits are not the same. Like they were all like the original kits. So this shirt, I love this shirt so much. I'm so happy with it. So that has made my day. Danny, welcome to the chat, my friend. Hope you're doing extremely well. So what I wanted to do today, look, I wanted just to have another honest conversation. People have been talking about this all day. I just thought I wanted to come on for a little bit and for you to get your opinions in this, and for other people to come on here and get their opinions on here. So, we can talk about what I've seen today. I think a certain Portuguese left back has basically thrown the manager under the bus. I just want to say, what a little prick. The manager that's given him, who's basically making his career here, who's given him opportunity. And I know there are certain people like Grace who love him. But after what he said yesterday, some of the comments that he's been saying, he has thrown this coach under the bus, and just highlights to me how much I can't stand these players. I think we also need to have an honest conversation about Amorin. And again, I've been doing some thinking on this. Liam says the Schmeichel keeper kit was my first. I don't know what my mum was thinking. I could be a keeper. I turn out to be 5'9" on a good day. Liam, I am 5'10". So so I feel the exact same way. This was my first keeper top. I was never a goalkeeper, but I just love the shirt. So yeah, I've got, and honestly, it's so much like the original shirt. The only thing it doesn't have is it doesn't have the arm pads things on it. But other than that, brilliant shirt. Absolute classic shirt. As Dina says, so JB, with what's come out today, is it time for Amorin to go, or is it the last time that Dalot plays? So he, for me, basically, so what's come out is he's basically come out and said that he's backing Kobbie Mainoo for captaincy of this club. Now, look, I know that players support each other. I've got no problem with players backing their mates, right? Garnacho has been talking as well today. Garnacho can just do that, right? But again, we can sort of talk about that. But I think what the significant thing for me is, look, I don't mind if your teammates support you, but when you're coming out, and that's come out to the media, and you've got a manager that needs the support from the players, considering these are the players that he's given the chances to. These are the players that he's basically bet his career on. These are the players where he's coming to this club and gone, I need you guys to basically get me through for now until I've got my players. Garnacho is such I can't stand him. I absolutely cannot abide that kid. I think he's just a disgrace and should shut his mouth. So he's basically said that he's going to back Wonderwear Benjers today, JB. Yeah, I wonder where he is today. The bottle jobs are doing their best to bottle their job, aren't they? And this is what I've said about Aston Villa. Aston Villa's record at home is exemplary. I think the stats are something like they haven't lost at home in about 31 games, which is basically, in European football, is something like the third best. So this is why when we play them away, don't expect to win, because it's just, I don't think it's going to happen. But Arsenal, and I know Arsenal are carrying players out. I get that, but the only downside to me, Scott, on that is if Arsenal bottle this, then City win the league again, and every league that City win, they're catching up. And I don't mean to the overall. I'm talking about the Premier League. So of all the teams to win the Premier League, I would have to absolutely want Arsenal to win the league. You got to give Emery his flowers, what he's done with the Villa squad in the last few years, Danny. And look, I agree with you. And the one thing I wanted to say on that as well. So Dan said, I honestly thought Villa would struggle this year. Well, the interesting thing about that is Villa did struggle at the very start of the season, but they've gone on this amazing run. And one of the things, Danny, I wanted to bring into the show as well, because we're going to talk about Amorin today, and I think we're going to have I want another honest conversation about Amorin today, and we're going to be taking out. There's so many things I want to say, and I will get to say, but I want your opinions in on this, and I sort of want to go beyond Amorin in and out. And look, I'm gonna start this by basically saying, look, I can't say I trust him, but it doesn't mean I want him out. But yeah, that's why I said, yeah. Look, one of the things that doesn't help Amorin's cause, not to say, look, let's be clear now. the players have turned on him. You know, the Portuguese right back, left back that's come out now. I don't want to keep saying his name because, you know, I'll get accused of, you know, saying all sorts, right? But, you know, when you're getting backed by a coach, despite what the fan base is saying, despite what is clear in front of our faces, and Amorin is back in the Portuguese contingent, you know, like he said. And the thing that's really, really irked me about this is that, look, irrespective of what time that you're having, and we will criticize players, right? Is that when they're your players and your coach, in my view, you need to back them, right? Because ultimately, the owners of this club who have no idea are going to sack the coach. You don't need to do it. So these are your players, right? You can argue with them, or we can say they're crap. I can't stand them, but ultimately, right now, these are our players, and I will defend them to a certain point. But when you've got a coach who in the press conference on Monday, after you absolute morons got a draw, you absolute morons played like a bunch of crap. The manager is coming out and he is defending you. He's backing you. He's backed the certain Portuguese left player, saying that he's powerful. He's an international player. That's why he plays. And then a couple of days after, and bear in mind, he's been absolutely atrocious all season. Amorin has backed him, and he comes out and basically said, and bearing in mind the media have come for Amorin on the Mainoo point. Three out of 4 questions from the presser was on Mainoo, basically coming for him about playing the youth. And let's just take up that for a second. But we are talking about this media now coming out for him, right? He's answering questions in basically the best way that he can. There's clearly a problem there. And then after you're backing a single player that the fan base is absolutely just has got no time for, that then one player, after you've backed him to the media against what everyone else is saying, who comes out and then starts backing publicly the player that people are trying to beat you with, and then you're then basically throwing the coach underneath the bus. It is disgusting. It is absolutely incredulous. It is one of those things. If you back a player to be the future captain in this club, I've got no problem with that. But the timing, and when you go to the media, or when the media pick up on this, it is, what is Amorin supposed to do here? You know, and I've seen so many things. Like channels now have basically turned on Amorin. You know, I get it. You know, I think this is a personal preference to you, but I think my standing now is this: we have to do something different. You know, if we don't stand up and do something else now, this cycle is going to repeat. It's going to repeat whatever happens. The cycle is going to continue. This has been an absolute shit show. So Liam says, sorry, I can't keep up with the stream. Could someone tell me who said what? So Dalot has basically come out and said that he's backing Mainoo to be a future captain of this club. Okay. Now, whilst that is in itself doesn't really seem like much, when you go into the press conference after Amorin has just been absolutely battered by the media on the Mainoo front, right? And he's been asked questions about Mainoo. He's been absolutely just, the media want him out, right? And look, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with the questions necessarily, but it's the number of questions, and it's the intention of the questions, right? And Amorin is trying to defend his position, and look, Amorin is the coach, right? And look, coaches have to be respected. At the end of the day, not every coach gets everything right. And the press conference then, when Amorin is then defending that player in that conference and saying, no, he plays for Portugal, he's powerful, he can play left, he can play right, he's basically one of Amorin's trusted players. Bearing in mind what, people are trying to beat him up with the Kobbie Mainoo thing, that same player that he is defending, playing against what all the fan base is saying about what everyone else is saying, and then he comes out and does that to the manager. As you say, Liam, these players have just absolutely just thrown him under the bus. As much as what we think about the coach, and a lot of people are you a local lad, London, Manchester Blue, mate, I'm not even going to bother. And actually, Manchester Blue, what's really embarrassing is that we all know Manchester's red. So, let me just go back to some of these for a second. Dino says there's no loyalty in football. JB, Ineos need to be assessing what is going on regardless. What they said a couple of months ago about backing Amorin. Performances are rubbish. Players are now turning on him, and Ineos have to act. I do agree with you. Liam says the timing is wrong. He's questioning Amorin's decision to leave him out, and he's just exactly. Grace still hasn't let go of Amorin since he scored. That's true. So, we're now getting into a situation whereby the players are now turning on the very coach who has basically been defending this bunch of wasters the whole season. And we'll get to Amorin in a second as well, because if you trust these, that the downfall of the coaches at this club is they trust these players. The moment you trust these players, they will let you down time and time again. Now, Amorin hasn't covered himself in glory here, and this is why if he loses to Wolves, he's done. Even if Ineos don't sack him after Wolves, he's done. It will be too much for the fan base to take. Let me get through the next comment, and then I shall tell you for why. Liam says one good thing about Dalot's comments is that it can be put to bed. Dalot and Amorin being related conspiracy. Doesn't matter. Manchester Blue. I could live it just because I don't have a Manc accent. Guess what? That's the beauty of being able to live anywhere in the entire world. I said it in the watch on JB. The players are down in tools, are not playing for the manager. I agree. If we lose to Wolves, he has to go. And look, I generally didn't think. I bet my life savings you're not from money. How do you know? It doesn't. It doesn't matter, my friend. Look, you don't have to be here. What's really, really funny, what I love about this channel, is that we get other people, and look, you are welcome here. We do not mind the banter. Absolutely got no problem with the banter at all, mate. Your City side right now are looking pretty good, right? After an inauspicious start, City are as of what I said this at the very start of the season when City weren't playing great. Don't sleep on City. Whether or not I take the mick out of City, you can't sleep on City, right? And look, I have no, as much as the rivalry thing is great, right? It is. I literally got no issue with any fans, right? Because we're all in the same boat. So but you are welcome here. Look, you're not going to get the sort of venom on here. You're not going to get told to piss off because you're a City fan, mate. You are welcome here. Look, we're going to get bantered, right? So we've been bad on you. You're asking where you're from. Look, I'm from Essex. So yeah. So look, Thomas says, "What's your thoughts about Lissandro Martinez possibly to start against Wolves on Monday?" Thomas, mate, I think it would be a mistake. I think it would be an absolute mistake. He's not ready. It's a bit like this Kobbie Mainoo and this obsession now. This media has got an obsession and this fan base has got an obsession, right? Kobbie Mainoo is now the figurehead, is going to be the figurehead of Amorin out, right? It was there were going to be there were going to be many defining points for Amorin, right? The first defining point for me was Bruno Fernandes. And I think there's a couple of things here at plays. Number one, not only did you have an opportunity, and a significant amount of fans on here wanted Fernandes to be sold. Now, whether or not we like that, to receive a bid of £100 million for a player who's coming to the back end of his career, that we could have used that money to go and strengthen the team. They didn't do it. And then you go and play Bruno in an 8. That decision, and I said it at the time, many of you said the same thing as well. Not only by keeping this player and then playing him out of position in a position that he can't play, you're going to die on that hill. It is going to make or break you at this club. Then the next thing, is this back three. Right, playing this back three with the wing backs, playing this pivot, it doesn't work. Right? You not being able to adapt to this formation that quite frankly stinks. So the back three, and now the Kobbie Mainoo thing. Like, it is going, like, your players have turned. Amorin, your players have turned on you. Your players have turned. I have sympathy. I have sympathy for a lot. And I'll tell you what I have sympathy for, and I tell you what I don't. And then we get through the chats. But I'll give you my thoughts on that. So, Thomas, do I think that Lissandro should start against Wolves? No, I don't. He's not fit. Like, if Amorin starts him, he is desperate. He is desperate. He's now got players that are turning on him. If I was Amorin, some of these players would never play for me again. It's quite clear. It is quite clear. The funny thing is, with such a big club, we've since heard about mainly to leave in January or a loan spell. Who replace him, Baleba or Wharton, or especially Camavinga from Madrid? Thomas, mate, I don't think we do anything. Look, I don't think we do anything. I think we lack the ambition. If this was City, if this was Arsenal, Liverpool, they would, Aston Villa, they will strengthen their teams because they've got ambition. They will strengthen their teams because they want to win a league. They will strengthen their team because they want to win cups. They want to go into Champions League and they want to compete. Thomas, don't believe the spin. Mate, that's all I'm going to say to you is, look, I don't believe the spin. I've been saying on here for months, and look, I've brought to you on here the news about Anderson, about Baleba, and all that sort of stuff, right? Camavinga is not coming, mate. Baleba, look, there's talk on him today that basically City are looking at him now. Bayern are looking at him now. If that's true, if we don't go to Brighton with an offer now, I don't think he comes to us. Why would he come to this club? I think without signings, we are not getting fourth. I think it's so imperative. And look, I think if we don't do anything now, I think the only time that we would do anything is basically in the back end of the window, because the AFCON will be sort of finished then, and I think we're going to be looking to bring players in at that point. There is a bit on Xerxes as well, but look, Thomas, if Amorin is still here, I think Kobbie Mainoo goes out on loan, but I wouldn't bet your house on it. I've been saying this. I think we do a loan deal. Gallagher comes in, maybe a Gomez comes in, but I don't believe right now we are ambitious. Now, I want to be proved wrong in this. I want to be proved wrong that we go and beat Wolves. Amorin gets a little bit of time. Aston Villa, forget it. Bournemouth, we should beat that. And then it's Newcastle at home. If Amorin comes, if Amorin can mastermind some sort of win out of the next couple of games, then he might survive. But then at that time, if Ineos do not back him over the next window, it's done. It's absolutely done. But look, Thomas, I absolutely implore you all to be as positive as you possibly can. Where are you from? Because I'm from Ancoats, and people from Manchester cringe at calling it Manny. Where the hell was it? 140 mishmash. Camavinga, I meant that to put it. That's fine. Amorim needs to make an example of Dalot. I agree with you. And I think this, because this show today is going to be very, very all over the place, because there's just so much. There's so much to talk about, right? Amorim does need to make an example of him, okay? And if Amorim doesn't make an example of him, after everything that he said, after everything he's battling in this team, if Amorim doesn't make an example of him, because Fergie would have dropped him like a stone. And I'm talking about Arteta, Pep, anybody with any cojones, anybody with any clout would drop this player. If Amorim doesn't drop him for the next match, then I pretty much lose respect for him. Because how can a player remain in this club who's actively thrown you under the bus? I will Amorim now, for me, for credibility, because not only look, there are passes that I will give to the coach, right? And the passes that I will give to Amorim are these. These are not his players, right? Ultimately, that is kind of where I'm at. Is these players have sacked many coaches. I don't think he's been fully backed. He was brought in as a specialist coach and wasn't given his players. But other than that, I've got nothing else. I've got no other defence of this manager. The main two things or the main three things that I've got to basically defend him with is that how many times have these players sacked a manager? The fundamental overarching thing for me are these players. I can't stand these players. I guarantee you, clip this up. If Amorim gets sacked and a new coach comes in 18 months, we will be here again. You go back to last year, we were all here with Erik ten Hag. Fast forward a year, we are all here with the next coach. Fast forward again to another year, 18 months, and we will be here again. All right. So for me, players, and that is the fundamental thing here. The next thing is basically these are not his players, and he's been brought in to play a specialist system, and he's not been backed. Right. Other than that, right now, I can't argue. His formation, while his formation and tactics, I believe, are perfectly fine. What he needs to realise, which he doesn't because he's stubborn, is that you have to play with what you've got. Now, look, if Amorim's tactic here is to basically fall on his sword because he believes in what he's doing, I've got no problem with that. But you are going to get sacked. The in-game decisions, the setup of the team, the pivot, that's on him. Whether or not I think he has limited players to play in that position, He knows he hasn't got the players to play that position. Mate, I'm begging you. Mate, I'm begging you. I want you to stay at this club. I want to be different. I'm begging you. Please change your team. Please just play a different. Just tweak it. Tweak it so you can give yourself a chance to win. Drop players who are not performing. Give like you're not going to get the players. Just give some of these youth players a chance. Like just please do something. Just I implore you. I want you to stay. But the decisions that you're making, you are not endearing yourself to the fan base. And I'm probably one of the last ones here. And I know there are many of you are as well. We are probably the last ones who are Amorin in on the basis that I can see what this is, but there's not going to be a defence. If we go to Wolves and he gets beat, at that point I've got to go, mate. There is nothing that I can do. And to go back to that comment, if Amorim still plays these same players, I have to lose respect, because there is stubbornness and it borders on stupidity. If I need a manager who is strong, I need a manager who can make the decisions, because this club needs somebody who's bigger than the players. And if you bow down to these players, you've got to go. It is as simple as that. Is Luke Shaw perfect fit as a centre back in a 3 formation? No, Thomas, he's not. A couple of years ago, Luke Shaw, you could argue, was probably one of the best centre backs in the Premier League. His time has been and gone. Like, how many times, how many managers, how many manager cycles has Luke Shaw been a part of? Luke Shaw wasn't fit for 2 years. He then suddenly become fit for the Euros, got injured again, and he's now become fit because it's a World Cup year. I guarantee you with Luke Shaw, I guarantee you this. The moment he knows he's not playing at the World Cup, he falls off a cliff and he won't play again for the rest of the season. I guarantee you. Luke Shaw for me is a joker. Luke Shaw for me is, and I know many people, they like Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw should not be getting in this team. It's a failure for me of this club to give him a new contract. It's a failure in this club to look. Luke Shaw can still play. Luke Shaw can play, but ultimately Luke Shaw is okay, right? Luke Shaw is an okay player, right? Luke Shaw was once a fantastic talent. Luke Shaw was once one of the best left centre backs in the Premier League, right? Luke Shaw at the moment is okay. Luke Shaw could walk into West Ham. Luke Shaw could walk into Premier League. Luke Shaw is okay, but this fan base is missing. I don't want okay. I don't want Luke Shaw. Yes, you can argue Luke Shaw has been okay this season, but I don't want okay. I don't want good. We need world class. We need at least somebody who is better than okay, who's going to give you a 7 out of 10 every single week. We don't have that. And this is my problem more so with a Luke Shaw is that we need somebody better. But Luke Shaw remains in this team. Luke Shaw, in my view, is stopping other players from progressing in this team. Amorin is so shit scared of putting in the youth. Heaven, I thought Heaven was really good. I thought Heaven showed the tenacity. He showed pace. He actually gives a shit. And that's been stifled. And if Amorin is too weak to change a team and drop these players, he's happy to call out a Dorgu, happy to call out these younger guys, but he's too weak to call out these established stars. And now these established stars are throwing him underneath the bus. Tiger King says, Turkey trick called the reborn. What do you think to this? I don't know. I don't know, my friend. I don't know. I've said it for a while now. If we sign anyone, it'll be loan deals. Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes fans need. I don't disagree. McTominay to return to replace Mainoo. I think that's an interesting one. I don't know. I don't know is the answer to that one. It would be an interesting one if Kobbie Mainoo went on loan and then McTominay came back. I don't understand why McTominay would come back into a failing club, doing worse. I'd even argue probably lower down than when he was here. JB says, I have a question for you, JB. If I was signing anyone, there would have to be bids in already. Never thought I'd see the day. Let's say in a couple of years, and we go back in for McTominay. Do you think he would come back, or would he would say you had me and you should have kept me? I don't think he comes back. I don't believe in going back. Right. I'm a big believer in when you stop something or when you leave a particular thing, you've left because there's a reason for it. I think then when you go back, it is not the same as it was before. Scott McTominay has gone away. He's probably had the couple of best years of his career. Why would he come back to this? Sometimes when you've been in a particular place for a long time, the thought of leaving, and it could be a job, it could be a wife, it could be a car, it could be any single thing on this planet, and you've been in it or you're doing it for so long and you're scared to go. It takes courage. It takes courage to leave something which is comfortable, right? It takes courage to leave. And it's only when you leave that thing and you take the step to leave and then you look back on it and you go, do you know what? The best thing I ever did was leave. The best thing he ever did, and I applaud him. I applaud him for, he could have just stayed. I applaud him for wanting to progress in his career. I don't want him back. I don't want him to come back, not because I don't think he's a good player. I don't want him back because I think he's got away from this toxic mess. And I think that he should go. I think he should stay away. And I think that what we will see is Kobbie Mainoo. It will happen for Kobbie as well. I think that, Kobbie will go away. I'm not buying into this whole Kobbie crap right now, right? Kobbie Mainoo could be waiting to be unleashed, right? I think Kobbie Mainoo right now has been held up to beat the manager with, right? The manager is beating himself up, right? It's almost like he's punching himself in the face. Amorin has plenty of easy wins here, but he's refusing to do it. He is like a child, right? Imagine a child who's got like, I don't know, a single sweet, right? And you're basically saying to the child, look, if you give me the sweet, I'll give you a bag of sweets. And he's going, no, I want this sweet. No, this is my sweet. I want to keep this sweet. And you're saying, look, no, if you give me that one sweet, I'll give you a whole bag of sweets. You're going, no, I don't, no. And Amorin is basically, it's a quick win. Like, I know it's going against your principles of what you believe to be right. But if I've always said this, play these fucking low IQ, waste of space players in their positions. Play them at their own game. If they want a 4-3-3, play them in an amended version of a 4-3-3. Okay? I would respect him. Going against your principles and your beliefs is one of the most difficult things that you can do. I would respect him so much more if he said, look, to get to the end of the season, I'm now going to play you guys at your own game. I'm gonna be your best mates. I'm gonna give you high fives. I'm gonna say to you, come on guys, you guys are fantastic. Oh, you've lost. It's okay, tickle their tummies. You know, be their best mates. Do what they do to other managers, and then at the end of the season, fuck them off. They'll be stunned, going, "Oh my god! Like I thought I was going to be part of the plans," and then you go, "Suckers!" You know, this is how it feels to be a coach. You know now what it feels like to be stabbed in the back. Amorin could. This is why I believe Amorin is too inexperienced to do this job. I still want him to succeed, but he's so inexperienced. He's 40 years old, right? 41 years old. He's so inexperienced right now that I think he's so stubborn because I don't think he can see the wood for the trees. I think it's I look. I blame Ineos for this mess. You know why bring him in? Amorin is clearly the wrong coach for this club. Clearly the wrong coach. If you wanted a manager to come in, if you want a manager to come in and manage these players, because look, that's what Ineos have basically said to him. We'll give you a couple of players, but you're going to need to manage a Luke Shaw. You're going to need to manage these players because we can't afford to get you these players. For fuck's sake, just go and get Gareth fucking Southgate. Like, I don't want him, but please, for the love of God, release this coach. Like, if you're not gonna back him, please just leave and go on. But they're so shit scared. They are so scared he leaves and does something better elsewhere. Right? I don't think if Amorim goes, he's going to be like a Ten Hag. I don't think he's going to go to a club and then he's going to get sacked after a game. I think they're scared that they know that Amorim, if he goes to a different club, he's going to be a success there. That's just my hypothesis. But I will come on to as well about the downside to this as well. Fergie would have already offloaded him. What did I miss? We get quality in rank, squad level, Carlos Baleba, Anderson, pivot, yeah. Mate, stop spamming the chat. I don't give a fuck about Cherky. I really couldn't give a shit. Amorim needs a plan A, plan B, plan C. He needs to learn quickly. He will not be successful in big leagues if he's only got one plan. Mason Mount, Cunha, Xerxes, very important to start. I see a few more other guys ready for Monday. Glazers, fans, Shaw, Bruno, Ugarte, along fans can go. Luke Shaw is okay player, and that's the problem. We have settled for okay players and results who set standards and keeps up the standards from dropping. Jeffrey Epstein, do you want to come to my island? On the basis that you are no longer with us, obviously you're a ghost, and I'm terrified. Helen says hi. Hello, Helen. Elena says I don't speak. Is that Spanish or Portuguese? Lucky says want ex-wife back. I don't. Lucky says I asked my ex-wife to come back. Effing amazing. Fans, funny as hell. As soon as the manager goes, everything's fine. Our fan base has become a joke at this point. Dino, you're ignorant. Liam says the way it's going, Amorim won't be here next season. More likely, we will play a three-man midfield as it's one of our most commonly used midfields. So Mainoo will slot in fine. Then we go. I was waiting for that. Scott, I'm using the pivot force. Jesus, love you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Yep, defenders very inexperienced. Play me one game. Arteta out, says Grace. Backing Amorim is now like backing a dead horse. And Jay, mate, look. Jay, United, mate, it is. Look, I've got two main reasons for me, and it's what I believe in. Right, I'm going with what I believe in. I know what I see. I fundamentally believe it's these players and this club. Right, if you bring in a manager that plays at a specialist system, you've got to back him with the team. right? If you don't, but this is my kind of this is not my defense of the coach. This is probably one of the most perplexing things I've ever heard, right? You are Ineos and you sack a Dutch coach, right? I've got no problem with that because Ten Hag, as it's been proven, like I look at this. When you get rid of a coach and he leaves, what does he go on to do? Right? So Ten Hag left this club, then went on to manage Leverkusen, right? He then got sacked after 4 games, right? That to me proves I am comfortable with that. So I'm comfortable. I didn't like it at the time, but I'm comfortable with that, right? Why in the hell we've played 4-3-3, 4-2-2 in our most successful eras? We've played 4-2-2, 4-3-3. You can argue 4-2-1-2-3, right? We played versions of it, right? Ineos. Why would you go? And I think this is the fundamental thing here to all of this, right? This is where the blame should lie. We can blame in game Amorin. You can blame in game the players, okay? Because they've all got to take their part in this. But where the blame has to fall upon is if you are Ineos in all your wisdom, why would you go to the Portuguese league? Go and get a young coach who's 40 years old, bring him in, who plays a specialist system in this club, in one of the and a young, inexperienced coach to manage the biggest club, one of the biggest clubs in the world. That for me is probably the core of all this. Why do you bring in an inexperienced coach? And I'll tell you for why. Why would you bring in an inexperienced coach into a team where you've got these toxic, you've got these pampered players? You need somebody who to come into this club to rule with an iron fist, who these players respect. Sometimes in life, when you've got petulant, and I'll give you an example, right? When I was a kid, right, there was 4 of us, right? So you've got four kids, right? And my mum, right? We used to run rings around her. And don't get me wrong, she'd scream, she'd shout. We respected her, but she's mum, right? The moment my dad would come home through the door, we would just be like little lambs, right? We would be not scared because he'd come in and he'd scream and he'd shout and he'd say to us, "You're off to bed," or we'd do like anything mean. But just by his presence and his aura coming in through the home, you'd be just like, "Oh shit, we need to be good here." This is what we need as a coach. Not somebody that rules with fear. Not somebody that comes in and goes, "You're not playing because, I'm like a stubborn guy." You need somebody to come in who these players respect. Who these players come in and they've got to have an aura. This is why you go and get the best coach and they come in and they toe the line, they toe the party line because of their experience, because of their aura. And this is why Fergie worked so well, because Fergie was the dad. Fergie commanded respect. It was Fergie that ran the club. We can bring in a coach. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to run the club. That's not what I mean. But he is the focal point and he is the boss of these players. Bruno Fernandes shouldn't be the focal point. Bruno Fernandes shouldn't be the main man. Fernandes should be sitting underneath the coach. Amorin should be above all of these players. And it's not Bruno Fernandes that's handshaking or and that's fine. But it should be, I am the coach. You sit down, you do what I say. And this is what Ineos didn't do. Go and get an Ancelotti. Go and get, other than Pep, go and break the bank and go and get the next big coach that you can. The reason why this has failed is because you're asking a young coach, a young guy we've never played a back three before, and he's got no aura. He's got no experience. It was exactly the same as David Moyes, right? Obviously, Jose, you can argue that he's got that experience and that aura. We still won things, and the players respected him. But the one thing with Jose, he was very, very toxic towards the end, and it always ends with him being sacked because he throws his toys out with the pram. But one of the fundamental the reasons why Moyes failed was because Moyes came in to a title-winning side, and Moyes was trying to teach and train multiple Premier League winning players how to win a league, when this guy had never won anything in his life. How can you, as Moyes, for example, how can you come into this team, and that for me was the beginning of the end. How can you bring in a coach like Moyes with no presence? I don't care what anybody says, no presence, no respect, and come into this squad and ask your players like Rio, Vidic, etc., Giggs, teach them how to win things when you've never won anything at all. So, and this is the problem with Amorin. He's got no aura. He doesn't have that presence. And he's proven it. These players have run a riot around him, and he's got no control. He's lost control. He's lost control of these players, and I don't fundamentally blame him. I blame Ineos for bringing in this coach who's just he never stood a chance. He never stood a chance. They should have gone out, made a statement, and got an Ancelotti, because I guarantee you, these players would not be playing up like a bunch of kids like they are now. David says, hi JB, hope you're well. Where did you get that top from? His classic. Yes, mate. David, I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. I got this from a place called Retro Club or whatever it is, mate. And this is exactly like the keeper top that I had when I was a kid, mate. This top is absolutely class. I absolutely love this kit. Absolutely, mate. You are spot on. I love it. James says AI. Bobby says talk of the devil. Dean says still waiting for JB to get that PS5 Scott. Well, maybe I will. Jay United says says getting paid millions to learn on the job, Jay, and I think you make an excellent point. Seen better goals fight. Ugarte Ribeiro has an attitude problem. Interested, mate. Look, pure Arian. I think that they've all got one, mate. I think that they have. Gifted Gas says Ten Hag played 4-2-3-1 and you still S. What's your point? But that's exactly my point. That's exactly my point. That is exactly my point. It's these players. You've basically just proved my point, right? It is these players. We can blame Amorin all we like. Amorin is part of the problem, and Amorin is going to pay with his job, right? He is. Kick Xerxes, Casemiro delete out. Can't kick right passing the ball to the opposition and ghost defending. Even if Amorin somehow manages to make the system work with all his plays, he expected the rest of the league to be sleeping. As a manager, you need to be flexible and imaginative. Jay, mate, exactly. So look, let's talk about Amorin. So look, I've spoken in defence of Amorin to a degree. Mark Switch says United bring youth players through, and Amorin doesn't use the youth, keeping Kobbie and getting rid of Amorin end of the season. Fresh manager in the summer, and we'll talk about that. I play says hi. Bobby says even Liverpool have started to win. Tulip places that look. Tulip Play, look, guys, in the chat, Tulip Plays, right? She produces some of these amazing shorts, right? Go and check out the channel. Go and check out her channel because some of the stuff she puts on there is fantastic. So look, give her some love. Go and watch the videos on her channel because they are brilliant. So go and give her some love. On a quality midfielder, F4 fans, I want better players. Carlos Baleba. So look, I've given you my defence of Amorin, right? And let's look. I don't want to do this, but I think we need to talk about, the thumbnail says it for a reason. It's not because I am Amorin out. I think it's important that tonight you guys are a lot of you exactly feel. I'd say go and click on the link after the video, and give her a like and a subscribe because some of the stuff on there is fantastic. So I've given you my defense of Amorin, but look, we're a community, and this is not a just trying to think of the word. This is not a monopoly. This isn't just my way or the highway. I have to give you the both sides, and I have to let you guys have your say as well. Right? So it's important for you guys to get your opinions out, right? And Jay says that Amorin is like a deer caught in the spotlight, so out of his depth. And look, I have to agree with that. Amorin is out of his depth. It's okay to manage in the Portuguese league, but when you come to the Premier League, I think is this: when you don't watch the Premier League and you are outside of it, and all you hear and all you see is money going into the Premier League, okay? And all you hear is fans going, "Oh, the Premier League is the best league in the world. It makes more money than any other league. It's the most spoken about league in the world." And fans from rival leagues, nothing against them at all, and they basically think that we're talking crap, right? So what that means is that some coaches come into this league and they don't fully understand what this league is. They don't fully understand that a Burnley, right? Burnley are not the best side in the entire world, but Burnley are no mugs. Burnley have been in this Premier League, in and out of this league for a number of years. A Bournemouth, Sunderland. I doubt most leagues even know what the hell that even is or what it means, right? So when you bring in a manager whose only experience has been in the Portuguese league, and look, I'm not bringing those leagues down, right? Because they are historic leagues with like historic clubs, but then they come into this league, and these managers find out what the Premier League is all about. Amorin has been schooled by David Moyes. Whatever we think of Moyes, right? Whatever we think of these other coaches in the Premier League, Amorin had no idea. And again, this is a failure on Ineos. This coach had no idea what the Premier League is, and I don't think he fully understands or understood what the Premier League is, and he's been schooled. You guys. I think the comment here of him looking like a deer caught in the headlights is spot on. Not only did he not understand what the Premier League is, because he clearly has no clue, he doesn't understand what these fucking players are. Like, he doesn't understand. Like, it's quite clear that these coaches, when they take over, they don't talk to the previous guy. Probably because there's an NDA. But go and have a private conversation with Ten Hag. Go and have a private conversation with the previous coaches to understand what you're walking into, my friend. Like Amorin, you have no idea what these players are. Nobody does. The only people that know what these players are the fans, are the people that work at the club. If you don't do your homework and you don't know these players, don't take the job, mate. Because you know I can say, look, I can say that it's Ineos's fault because it is. But mate, do your homework. Like, have you not watched these games? You know, it's almost like it's almost like Jay, right? Like Amorin is coming to this club and he is in awe of these players. Amorin's come into this club and Amorin is in awe of the club. Amorin has come in and he's like, oh my God, Fernandes, I can't believe I've got him. He's such an amazing player. Oh my God, he's Portuguese. I'm Portuguese. Oh, Portuguese friends. Oh, friends. Portuguese for friends. Oh, friends. And they've probably gone, oh, this coach is great. He's young. We can go sing some karaoke together. We can go to cut the beers, you know. Oh, friends, great friends. And they'll all pretend to be his friend because guess what? It's a World Cup year, right? Some of them are going to play for a contract. He's a younger guy, you know. Maybe they feel that they can pull the wool like over his eyes. And I genuinely believe, Jay, you're right. The fact that he can't watch penalties, the fact that he strops around, like I don't want a coach who's starting to come across now like a Portuguese, and this is no disrespect, he's coming out like a manager from a lower league club. He's coming out like a manager from the Portuguese league. Like, he shouldn't be explaining himself. If these media people are coming in and are asking these questions, I remember times when Fergie banned them. The club would say, no, but Fergie would say, you lot ain't coming in anymore. Ferguson would refuse to give interviews. Fergie would ban them for a couple of months. Amorin can ban these people. Amorin should be just like, I'm going to refuse to do these conferences unless you ban those fuckers. Right? But he doesn't do that. This is what I mean. And you are right. Amorin comes across like he's learning on the job. And Amorin is absolutely, completely scared. Mars says, ain't no way he's a United fan. Who, me or somebody else? Kosh Football says, can you say hi to my friend Sam? Hello, Sam. Sam, hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. Your friend wants me to say hello, Sam. Hi, Sam. Scott said, I say back him. No other manager can walk in here and get his team to work, no matter who it is. Give Amorin till 2027-28 season, see what he can do with a couple of more windows. And look, Scott, ultimately, mate, right, I am with you. Right now, I'm giving the both sides of this, right? And I've set out my stall, and I do not change it. I want Amorin to be given the opportunity, because I think it's only fair. I want him to be given an opportunity to see what he can do. Why can't we be different to what we have been? These players are letting him down. Scott, my friend, we both know it's not going to happen, right? If Amorin loses to Wolves, he's done. This fan base will turn completely. People like us who and I do know that other people can be Amorin out, but still want these players out. I fully respect that, right? But Scott, we know deep down, if Amorin gets sacked at Wolves because he's lost to Wolves, and Amorin plays, and Amorin plays the same team, I can't argue that he sacked himself. Mate, I want it so much to work, and this is why, look, I'll back him until the end. I'm not blindly Amorin out, but I think we have to do something different. I maybe see things in a different way to people. We can be Amorin in and like the players. You can be Amorin in and dislike the players. You can be Amorin out and like the players. You can be Amorin out, still hate these players. I don't hate players. I just really dislike them. Stick to other fan channels. Leo says Mainoo should be playing the role of Amorin is forcing. Yeah, Leo, I agree with you. Guys getting paid millions and can't even beat Everton and West Ham at home. That's not good enough, says Jack. John McQueen says players are at fault. They are all pathetic. These results are not on the manager. Look, John, look, I right now fall somewhere in between this position, right? Is that I know fundamentally, John, I agree with you completely, right? With these players have sacked coaches time and time again. Where I'm more annoyed at the coach more than anything else is please just I want you to get through so you can get some more players, right? Just tweak the system so you get through. I don't give a shit about these players. I want Amorin to find a way to get through this season so he's given more time. I want Amorin to come up with a way to fool these players into thinking they've got a future, to play these players at their own game so he can get himself to another season. But Amorin's inexperience is gonna get him the sack, and we've seen it again. Look, we will be here again if we sack him. And as I say, the thumbnail says after Wolves, if he loses to Wolves, he's gone. I don't see a way back for him. I think the outcry from the fan base, from the outcry from the fan base will be, look, something has to change, and we all know, John, we all know, Scott. No matter if we think it's the players, no matter if we're screaming down the lens, it's these players. He will get the blame for it. Jay hasn't asked the question. We don't have two quality midfielders. Liam says, to be fair, Ranić was supposed to do that with Ten Hag, but he said he wasn't interested. Jay says, you give Amorin a prime figure and a Ronaldinho, he will play them as wing backs. What's your favourite music band? Linkin Park, I think, really. JB, are there and wing backs you think we should target? I like Mendes. Is it PSG? Mendes for me, I think would probably be the one. Is it Munoz as well from Crystal Palace? I like those two. Are you a United fan? Says Musclet. No, mate, I'm not. Nah, mate, I'm not. Like I know, sorry. Who is the greatest player? Funky, who is the greatest United player? For me, look, there are many answers to this, right? Some people will say Dennis Law, some people will say George Best, some people will say Bobby Moore, Brian Robson, Peter Schmeichel. For me, it's Mark Hughes. It doesn't mean that he was the best player. For me, my hero was Sparky. Absolutely love Sparky, but you could argue Cantona is up there for me. Giggsy's up there for me. Roy Keane is up there for me. Beckham is up there for me. But for me personally, my greatest United player is Mr. Hughes. De Ligt hasn't won anything. Bruno defeated who are the best player in the world. Stop defending the garbage. De Ligt hasn't won anything. Bruno Fernandes defeated who are the best in the world. Stop defending the garbage. De Ligt, total trash. He's not, mate. I disagree with you. Look, you are entitled to your opinion, and I'm not. Look, we watch football in a completely different way, right? I think it's really important for you to have your opinion, and I'm not going to call that out, right? Because that's your opinion, and if you wholeheartedly believe that, Bruno Fernandes is dog shit, in my view, right? I fully appreciate. Look, let me explain to you from my opinion, and this is only from my view, why I think Bruno Fernandes needs to go and why I cannot stand him. Okay. Bruno Fernandes, for a significant amount of time, has been our best player, has been a phenomenal player, right? He's there, he's available, he plays, he's passionate. I can defend him, right? The last 2 years, I'm not going to defend him. Bruno Fernandes is the epitome of a stat padder, right? Yes, he scored goals, right? And people love him, and I'm not going to dispute that love. The last, in my view, 18 months, a year, Bruno Fernandes has not been good. He's scored goals, but he's not been good. He's been asked this season to do a job, and I respect the fact that he's been asked to do a job and it's not his position. I'm not going to argue that. He's been, I admire that. But as a captain, he's been one of the worst captains I've ever seen. He's petulant. He couldn't lead a horse to water. He's not a leader. I can't stand what he is in this team. Look, he can't even do the basic. If you can't play a number 8, I get it. But what I expect of my captain is to be bigger than this team. He's petulant. He throws his hands in the air. He doesn't tackle. The biggest thing for me was that Spurs game. Right? He had an opportunity. I can't remember who it was. It was that young Welsh player that Spurs have got, right? It was a 50-50, and he should have gone in with an absolute cruncher. And I'm not talking about hurting the player. I'm talking about you let the player know that you're there. Even Luke Shaw did it. Luke Shaw did it in the last game. He went in for a cruncher and he won that ball. Bruno Fernandes is not a captain. I expect more from him. And look, we got offered £100 million for him. I just don't want him anymore. And I disagree with you. I think that De Ligt has been one of our best players this season. He's gone off the boil a bit because this team has been awful. But I disagree with you. I think Bruno Fernandes this season is utter garbage. Cole says, can you give me a shout out to my home team, Cape Town? Love from Australia. I'm not reading that bit out, but I will give your hometown a shout out, but I'm not going to read it. Love from Aussie fan, mate. Big up to you, Cole Phelps. We are asking, why are we wasting time with the bang average manager? It's inevitable he's getting the sack with dead formation and tactics, says Jay. Red Devil Rose says, we just need to make the team better and are horrendous. We look at it at the end of the season. Players are not formation players. If Amorin goes, the players remain. At least it's better. Interesting opinion there. We're getting scored on because De Ligt is a good defender. No, let's use logic. Pure, I'll give you logic. You're seriously telling me, and again, this is just my view. Are you seriously telling me the reason why we are terrible is because of a defender? Are you seriously telling me that the reason why Bruno Fernandes is dog shit, the reason why Casemiro is slow as shit, the reason why Luke Shaw is slow as shit, the reason why our wing backs are crap, the reason why we can't get the ball to the attackers, the reason why the pivot is crap, the reason why Kobbie Mainoo doesn't get a game, the reason why Xerxes has come in and isn't great, the reason why Mason Mount is always injured is because of a defender. come on, mate, come on. Like you look, engage your brain. Engage your brain. If you think that De Ligt is the problem in this team, then basically Ineos have got into your brain. Basically, you are you are getting spun around. Look, I understand people's opinion, and I'm not necessarily calling your opinion out, but you've said to me to use a logical opinion. Logic on here is what dictates this, right? If you are logically blaming a defender for the rest of the team and the performance of this team, I think you probably need to go and watch games. De Ligt has won exactly. Luke Shaw is the new Phil Jones, staying way past his time. Spin of the wheel, I agree. Newcastle. Rob James says, give the man a chance. All these big players over the years have flushed the managers out. Rob James, man. Again, I am so with you. It's untrue, right? But I've got to give the both sides of this, right? And I will give the other side to it as well, because look, I am Amorin in, and I've been called all sorts, right? But I know fundamentally it's these players. But in this club, it's for the manager to survive. And for the manager to survive, he can only survive if he plays their game. It's not Premier League or national competition. Who are they going to get? And Rob James, mate, this is exactly the point, right? Who are they going to get, right? If this club is not going to back the coach, sack him now, because there's no point. I want Amorin here. I want us to be different. I want us to play a different style of football, and I want us to be different, right? If Ineos are not going to back the coach, then what is the point? Fucking sack him, because there's no point. And as you said there, who's next? Fucking Southgate. Like, if you've got no intention of letting these pre-Madonna arsehole players go and get Southgate. Go and get Allardyce. Go and get Deitch. Go and get somebody who's going to get you mid-league football. The only thing I'm asking seriously here is, if we sack the manager, who is going to come in and use these players? These players then would have been on, some of them, Luke Shaw would be on his 7th coach. What does it tell you? Who is going to come in to fix this mess? Speaker says, crazy hamburger. Thanks, mate. You want so Liam, I will let you deal with that, Liam. United has a brand new barbershop at the stadium. They may play horribly, but their trims are sharp. Oh, I love it. Mark Street says, Liverpool are going 5th if we lose against Wolves. Amorin needs to go. O'Neill would bring the spark back. I don't know about that one, mate. I don't know. Bobby Moore never played. Not Bobby Moore. Bobby Charlton. Sorry, I never. You all know what I meant. Not fucking Bobby Moore. He was West Ham. You all know what I mean. Yeah. Look, spin of the wheel. Sometimes, my friend, when you're talking on here, mate, sometimes the wrong name comes out. But you know what I mean. I'm getting fed up with the results under Amorin. I just don't think it's his fault. If you watch Amorin Sporting, you will know this is not his United. I don't buy that he doesn't know what he's doing. And look, the problem is, for me, is Amorin is a very intelligent guy, right? There is no question. There is no question of that, right? He knows what he's doing. but he needs specialist players. He does need specialist players, right? If this club is not going to back him and give him the specialist players, they need to let him go. Look, that is a fact. If they don't back him, sack him, because whatever we think, I want to back this coach. I want to be different. I want to play a different brand, and I want to play football that's exciting to watch. But Amorin needs his players, and if Amorin doesn't get his players, sack the guy. Because why are you putting him through this? Liverpool 2-2 after being 2-0 up. Wow. Johnny Hill says, I can't understand why people in the comments keep saying give Amorin time. Is youth, courage, success? Amorin doesn't tick any of the boxes. Look, Johnny, I mean, that's an interesting one. If we want a manager to improve current players, I'm not putting Bruno in accepted. Then I'd bring in Emery. He took over Stevie G's Villa and turned him into a beast. Now look, Johnny, even though I want the manager to stay, I did ask who would you bring in to the club. I think that's a valid point. And Johnny, I've been waiting, Johnny, for somebody to come in with that, because I do have that down on my list of stuff, right? Emery's going to be the stick that people use to beat him with, right? Because whether I like it or not, Johnny, that is a very, very valid point. I think it's a very, very valid point. For every Amorin, right? Emery is a winner. Look at what he has won. He has won Europa Leagues, multiple. You look at what he's done there. No, I don't disagree with it. If we are talking about, and Johnny, I did ask who would you bring in to this club, and Emery does tick a lot of the boxes. He does tick the Premier League proven manager. He does tick that he can come in and possibly work with players on a budget that's quite low. If you look at what Aston Villa had to do, they had to sell players, and you look at what he's done to them. So look, Johnny, I mean, I'm not opposed to that. Right now I want Amorin to succeed, but Johnny, can we be confident that Ineos will do something like that? Kish says, I enjoy your videos, but I believe before removing another manager, we need to clear out Bruno, Castello, Shaw, Mount, Maguire, Ugarte, then the Glazers below average plays. Look, Cash, I'm with you, my friend. This is not a video, and it depends on what point you hear me speaking here, right? Is because I am Amorin in, right? My position on this is that I blame Ineos, the Glazers. These players have to go, and Amorin is the least of the issue in my view. I want these players to go. I can't stand these players. I want Ineos to go. I want the Glazers to go. Look, I've got my shirt up there, mate. I cannot stand the Glazers. But sadly, Amorin is the one that will play. What is your favourite soccer team in Africa? If we're talking international football, I would probably say Cameroon is probably for me the team, because Cameroon were probably one of the first African teams when I was younger in World Cup in Italia '90, where Roger Milla scored a couple of goals. So I'd probably was it Cameroon where Miller scored some goals. Zabozla for Liverpool. It's a BTEC Samaras. Liverpool just went 3-2 up. I hate Liverpool, but Zabozla is a much better player and is very handsome. Credit where credit. Szoboszlai is a much better player and is very handsome. Credit where credit is due, mate. Liam, some people have it all, mate. We don't need to clear out what happens when the players go elsewhere. They're all good. Look at what Wan-Bissaka, man of the match. There's something wrong in that club. No one is coming out with an A. And just talking around the issue, Liverpool will never be able to come back from that. Ranić, Ronaldo, Van Gaal, all previous players. It's game over. Mainoo gone. It's beyond pale. I want Amorin sacked. I want Emery in immediately. Yes, I can't really answer if Ineos would do it because at least on paper Emery's a perfect manager. But for a club who doesn't want to spend billions, but Ineos do like to do stupid things. We are nothing compared to City. We're a million miles away. Look, we can look. There is no point right now comparing ourselves to other clubs, right? Because we are unique, right? We are a unique club, right? We are unique for many reasons, right? We are unique in our history. We are unique in the size of the club. We're also unique in the fact that we've got billions of pounds of debt. We are unique in the fact that we have these owners who are absolute scum owners, and we're unique that we are toxic. We're still toxic from top to bottom. In Ineos can paper the cracks, right? Ineos can paper the cracks. Ineos can say they've got the best football people in which they have, and which we all know is basically a load of shit. They're puppets. They're puppets. Nothing has changed. And I think on here, right, we've been talking about this now for an hour and a half nearly, right? And I read the next comment. It says, Amorin's system thrives on wingers as the wide players and hard working midfielders. We don't have this so clear to me. Exactly. We've all been talking about here on Amorin in, out, whether we're Amorin in or out, and whether these players have to go or it's all a waste of time, right? Because fundamentally, the problem with this club are the Glazers. The problem with this club are Ineos, and I'm sick to the back teeth of the Glazers and Ineos destroying this club. It is absolutely we are absolutely just as a fan base spun around, right? We're talking about the minutia. We're talking about these, and look, the results talk on the pitch, right? That's true. But we're talking about minuscule part of the problem. The problem are these fucking dirty, horrible, nasty, slimy, disgusting, despicable owners. They should be in prison for crimes against what they've done to this club. Now, the Premier League should be revoking their ownership. The Premier League should be forcing these arseholes to sell. They are fucking despicable. They are disgusting. This club will never be right until they're purged. This club will never be the same again until these arseholes are purged. And we're going to keep arguing, right? What the Glazers of Ineos have done so well, they've done this fantastically well, right? We are debating transfers. We are debating whether it's Amorin's tactics, Amorin's system. Is it the players? When these players leave, they suddenly become good. Their managers are all terrible. Amorin's terrible. Ten Hag is terrible. Right now, who is talking about the Glazers? The first thing that we all talk about is Amorin in, right? And I'm exactly the same, right? Amorin in, Amorin out. These players, right? Nobody's talking about the Glazers. The first thing that we should be talking about is these dirty, scummy arseholes. As David says there, we don't have the players for the system. The Glazers will never sanction the money and the players that we need. They'll never sanction it. They're more interested in ruining. They are destroying this club. Let's go on here. And what are we saying? I'm sick of it, JB. We've got the cheapest owners in the league. It's the overlords that kill teams. It's not going to get anywhere near his football until he gets this. I do agree with you. Amorin shouldn't even try to sell Man Utd because they may be a factor when Gabriel is given a pro contract. If we get Qatar in, then we can literally dominate. Just the fact is, I'm honestly not Amorin out. I understand that he's not really shown anything, but neither have the players. Did you enjoy the World Cup draw last night? At the moment, Paul, I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm Welsh, so unless Wales get through, my friend, I do not have a dog in this fight. I think it's really strange, though. It's really strange that England have got Croatia and Panama. No, I was going to say it's Panama, but I thought it was because I thought they had Panama before, but it was Costa Rica, wasn't it? I mean, England should have a good chance. You know, I will be supporting the home nations. I will be supporting Scotland, England, etc. But I think England have got a good chance. Mate, please, I'm from England, from Newcastle. Where did the bloody hell are you? Where are you? Timing, no one's listening. Okay. We don't have players for Amorin's system. I thought they were gone. The thing that confuses me the most is why did they think bringing in Amorin was a good idea when the academy at all levels plays a completely different system? And I keep saying this as well. I keep saying this time after time after time after time. Why did Ineos bring in a coach that plays a completely different style of football? It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense at all. We're only not talking about the Glazers because it's been done. Nothing can be done. It's a waste of breath. And again, it is. No, it is. Agreed. But I still think our conversations still need to be mentioning them, because if we don't do it, they get away with it. So it's almost a bit like, look, we absolutely have to talk about the manager. We absolutely have to talk about this team. We've got no choice. I also think we need still the conversation of the Glazers out as well. Ship Bruno to Saudi and get a few good midfielders. Why do ChatGPT stealing customers' data and selling it to software companies? And why do United never sell their fans to other clubs? I don't understand what the hell you're talking about. England got the toughest group. Are you from England or somewhere? Question. Why do you guys sound like that when you talk? Serious inquiry. Where are you from? I don't understand what you're talking about. Don't know. Wherever you're from, you ask stupid fucking questions. So I question your brain cells, but that's fine. Mainoo should be getting minutes over Ugarte. Did you see how he played when he was subbed against West Ham? I need a World Cup with all of our home nations in it. Me too. Look at City, Cherky, Doku, Rinders, Haaland, Foden, all world class. What do you think about Sunderland's loss today? Look, I want teams like that to do well. Of course, I want us to do well, but Sunderland, like I think Sunderland will probably struggle a bit. Look, I want Sunderland or another team like that to do well. Look, I don't look. I'm not the sort of person who revels in other teams getting beat, right? Of course there's banter, of course I don't want City to win the league, right? I don't want Liverpool to win the league, but I don't revel in their defeats, right? It pisses me off more so the fact that we can't compete. Like, it's not City's fault, Liverpool's fault that they compete and they win stuff. It's a failure on us to not compete. I saw a lot of people saying that they're impressed with Harry Amas on loan spell. They forget he's playing left back there. We don't have any world-class players apart from Mbeumo, Cunha and Ahmad. In reality, our standards have fallen. Niche, we don't have. Mbeumo is not world-class, neither is Cunha. JJ's 14 and number 10. I don't think we need to worry about him playing wing back in the next 2-3 years. I am 99% certain Amorin won't be here by then. Arsenal winning the league, says Harry Tinkerballs. I don't think they are, mate. Sunderland and United have great chemistry with each other. I have much respect for your fans. Thank you, mate. I also have respect for your fans too. We play Newcastle next week. Can I get a prediction? We play at home. It's going to be a hard one, mate. Newcastle are on a little bit of form. I think that's got draw written all over it. I do. I'm not going to lie. No, I think a win for Sunderland today would have been useful. Newcastle are very inconsistent. I think for me, it's got draw written all over it. But hopefully, Sunderland can win it. We lack a lot of creativity. It's so frustrating to watch our wingers. It's not trying to beat players, not trying to mix it up, go to the byline next time, cut inside, keep them guessing. He needs another window. I agree with you, Rob. The best Ronaldinho Gaucho. Paul Brady says 3-3. 3-3 Leeds and Liverpool. That's amazing. Look, I remember back in the day some absolute banging games against Leeds and Liverpool. It's like a boxer only throwing a jab. The opponent knows he's not coming. Not saying one won't get through, but it's not effective way to win. Yeah. I just liked and subbed. Can I have a shout out? Alicia, thank you. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you for the sub, Alicia. Absolute legend. Thank you so much. Look, I guys, look, just a simple like, a subscribe. I promise you, really helps us out. It really helps the channel out. And look, I can never thank you enough. So look, Alicia, it's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. Thank you for the prediction, mate. I have it 1-1 or 2-0 to us. Just subbed much up. Brand, mate. I absolutely it blows my mind that people want to sub to the channel. And look, it is just, I can't even thank you enough. Something so small, right? Absolutely, is just it means so much to me, and really does help out the channel more than you ever can know. The only other thing I wanted to say before I sort of go are two things. So Xerxes, right? So let's get on to the subject of that. So Xerxes said Leeds just equalised. It's one of those bittersweet games, isn't it? Because it's Leeds and Liverpool. It's almost like a draw would be an absolute winner right now, right? Xerxes. So look, Roma, as it's been reported today, Roma have actually made a bid for a Xerxes. So the bid, there's no price on the bid, but it looks like it's a loan with an option to buy. Thank you, Brand Gaming. Look, mate. Thank you for being part of this community, mate. It is, look, the only reason this channel is as good as it is because of you guys. Like you literally make the conversation on here. You guys literally make the content. I come on here, I talk to you guys, I talk about stuff. You guys are the community. So I need to thank you guys really for making the content and making the content easy, really. Xerxes just needs to go now. He wants to stay high in the 9. So I think if Xerxes does go, I think Xerxes will go towards the back end of the window. Roma really like him. Mark's Edit says, Leo says 3-3. SA Edit says, hello, mate. Hello, buddy. Hope you're doing extremely well today. So Xerxes, Roma, they won him. There is a definite bid there. United have rejected it at the moment. Now, the reason why they have, right, is because Shesko is still out. If Xerxes goes, then I think maybe we would do something, but I don't think we're going to do anything at the moment. David says Ten Hag in for Liverpool. DJ Clutch says Mainoo needs to play more. Don't want another Donny. Oh, God. Donny van der Beek, Jesus Christ. I mean, Donny, to be fair to Ollie, Donny was forced on him. Donny van der Beek. Jesus Christ! I mean, when we talk about players, right? When we talk about players who leave us and become good, right? Donny van der Beek. I don't know what happened to that guy. It's almost like he got injured and literally like he had a transplant to being like another player. I mean, Donny van der Beek was just a disaster from start to finish. I mean, it was an abject disaster. So we certainly don't want another Van der Beek, mate. I've got PTSD over that guy. Biron says, "Good evening. Can I crash at your place for a few weeks?" I'd have to ask the missus, mate. I'd have to ask the missus. I do have an office. You could probably kip on the couch in here. There is a couch here. I probably would like to, do like a background check. It would be subject, Biron, to a background check. Other than that, mate, it's fair game. So yeah, Xerxes, look, Xerxes could be on the move. Oh, that's cool. Let me know, brother. Mate. No worries, pal. Yeah, so are we going to do anything in this summer? Sorry, in this winter window? We're going to find out. We're going to see. We're going to see. Do I think we do anything? No, I don't. Look, I want this club to back this manager, right? The only thing that I'm asking for is I don't want a manager to be sacked with an excuse. If we give Amorin, if we give Amorin a midfielder in this window, if we give Amorin a midfielder, maybe a backup striker, and then he gets to the summer, we give him another midfielder, a centre back, a couple of more players, and then we get to this time, maybe October next year. If Fernandez is still here and he's playing him in an 8, right? If he's still getting beat, but he's got pretty much a full team of his players, he can piss off, right? But right now, I want to do something different. I want to be different. I want us to do something different and put up and back the manager or sack him. And I think ultimately where I am on this now is on Monday, if he loses to Wolves, he's done. He's done. I think Wolves is going to be key. I think if he loses to Wolves, it is going to be, nah, mate. Look, mate, we can't have stuff like that, pal. We can't have stuff like that, mate. That's not very good. Amorin out. I have been since he sold Garnacho. Imagine United the Buns. Imagine if we get beat to if Wolves win, it's done. Whether or not I would still give him time, which I would, he's done. If he loses to Wolves, he's done. Jaden says United relegation. Don't think so, mate. It's just, look, it's not going to happen, is it? Jaden says Arsenal are better. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. United cooked. We probably are cooked. Look, unless United get players, we are cooked for this season. This season is done. This season is done. Unless we get new players, then we are cooked. Jane says Arsenal are way better. Yeah, you are. Like, mate, there is not like there is. It's basically a bit like me, Jaden, saying to Wrexham, United are better than you. Like, you are. Even though you've just lost, you bottled it today against Aston Villa. You know, you may be better, but Arsenal are bottlers. You are bottling this league. You had such a good lead. You may be better than us. You may be way out there, but you are bottlers. Amorin out since he sold Garnacho says, wow, yes, Simon, but we can't be losing to Wolves. They have got a fight in them. Yeah, to be honest, I think we need relegation. Maybe the owners will notice we're in the mud. Mate, DJ Clutch, if we go down, forget about it. We are done. We are absolutely done. We are absolutely done. So look, guys, I am going to go. Look, thank you so much for being here. Cracking show. I do love these shows. Absolutely brilliant. You know, I can only thank you so much really for being here. Before I go, Melanie says United is the best. Look, thank you so much for the super chat, mate. Honestly, appreciate it. Appreciate you. It blows my mind the fact that you support the channel. United is the best from Israel. Agree, look, mate. I agree with you. Big shout out to you, my friend. They are, mate. You know, and look, we will endure. One of the final things I will say, my friend, is United are the best, right? We will endure. And I'm not talking about players. I'm not talking about the manager. I'm not talking about the owners. We are the best, right? This club will endure. This club will get better in time. You know, we will endure. The fans, in my opinion, the fans are the best part of this club. And the fact that, again, that you're supporting me, Eleanor, mate, I absolutely thank you so much, and it means so much to me that you guys are willing to support me. So look, players that have gone, I've gone for a reason. They were problems and not right. The profile for a system is not the reason to go back. I wish. So look, guys, I am going to go. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the support. You guys really do make this channel. We are, even though sometimes we are apart in our views, we are, you know, I love the conversations on here because look, even though we disagree, I love the fact that you guys respect each other. You do respect me. Not everybody comes on here with that respect, but I do fully appreciate the fact that you come on here. We have a debate. You guys are respectful to each other as well. Even though we disagree, it's all about trying to find the answers, right? So look, guys, I won't be back tonight. I'll probably be back tomorrow at some point. Watch along on Monday, of course. I will be back Monday afternoon, but I will be back tomorrow afternoon, evening at some point tomorrow. So look, have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Come on, Leeds. Hopefully that game will finish soon. And I will be back tomorrow. So look, guys, thank you so much for being here. You're all a bunch of legends, and I will be back tomorrow. So take care. And I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.